Hey, I'd like to, showcase something new, something exciting to the community. I've been working on for the last 3, 4, 5 days. I've been working on something new. It's called Frappe AI. For now, just ignore this batch. I think I've just missed one of my payments and my card got declined, so I'm getting this batch all the time. But this is what I'm going to talk about in this video. Frappe AI. From the About section, you'll be able to see that it's a central command for all your AI operations across your Frappe framework. I've tried to accommodate everything that's related to AI in the present world, apart from your automation workflows, because that runs on an entirely different stack. Frappe being a WSGI cannot support an ASGI server inside itself, so it needs to be hosted as a separate service and supervised by a supervisor or whatever you're using for production instances. But the point being, apart from those AI related workflows and it related things, everything is going to be provided out of the box in this repository. So you see we have a few basic features for, say, whenever you need to call your client, call your by client, what I mean is your AI client, which you have initialized. So whenever the problem was that whenever we used to initialize a new project for, say, any of the business use cases, we were repeatedly trying to implement the same thing over and over again. And to solve that, I've just created an application which provides all your AI solutions at a place. With this application, what you'll get out of the box is all your AI clients at one place, all your rack pipelines handled, and you'll have access to operating everything from your desk. Plus, you can use whatever functions that are being called behind the scenes across your models in any of your benches, any of your sites. Using, I think there's a core functionality that Frappe provides to import a module from other sites as well. Uh, so I'll walk you through all of this, and I'll also walk you through the code that I've written here. What I'm trying to do right now is that I'm trying to reinstall my site so that I can show you from the very scratch how to use this. So I'll just set a admin password here. Um, Enabled. Okay, everything's there. I think I should just run bench migrate for the changes to reflect. There's a site named demo, and I'll just log into that site now. Okay, this is Frappe v16, by the way. Complete setup, and I'll be following this README file. I think it's updated 7 minutes ago, so it's the latest version. Uh, okay, so AI client is the first thing that you'll need to configure. That's what we'll be doing. I'll go to AI client list, create a new client, name this. What client should I opt for? I think Google would work. It's one of the cheapest, right? So Gemini 2.5, what, Flash or Pro? Flash will do. And the API key would be, let's create a new API key. So Gemini API keys. Uh, let's create a new API key. And yep, let's go with that, right? I'll delete this, by the way. You don't end up using it for your projects. This is kept as a small text for some reason. I don't know. There was some issue that I was facing related to password decryption, so I ended up making it small case for now. Sorry, small text for now. Um, Thinking level should be medium. That would work. Yep. And let's click on save. It would, upon saving, it would fetch all the models that are having access to your API key, and then you'll have, say, access to, what was this, Gemini 2.5 Flash. So we're going to give it that. Yep, that's fine. The next step was to uh, use your OCR processes. So there is something known as uh, AI settings doc type, your document AI settings. This is specifically made for Google's document AI OCR based processes, because if I try to show you the console for Google, which provides this interface, there are some entities and fields which you would find there that you're supposed to put up here. So I'd like to go to document AI, um, my processors. You'll see there's a processor ID that it's asking for. You'll get it here. This is the why is it enabled for so long? I created this in January 26. Okay. Anyways, I'll put it here. I'll put a service account. Okay, let's just skip this because service account is a whole different headache to give all of these permissions that relates to my document AI. It's going to be a long video anyway. So let's just first cover the RAG document one, and then we'll start with the document AI uh, process. Okay. Project ID, let's say Samba or something like that. Cloud bucket storage will be bucket, and we'll save it here. I'd like to start with the RAG workflow first. Okay, so for RAG pipeline, you're supposed to set up these documents. I've already done that. All of this installation part is already done because I've just ran bench reinstall, which would essentially keep my installations in place, and it would just reset the database for my site. um, I'd create an AI client, which I think I have already done, right? AI client is here. Second, I'm supposed to configure the rack settings. So I'd head over to rack settings. I'll select an AI client and I'll give it a prompt. Um, this should be analyze, if I could type correctly, the given context data and respond to the user query accurately. All right. Embeddings model is going to be text embedding 0.00004 or whatever. Let me do a quick Google search for Gemini embedding models just to check if this is a valid uh, model or not. So let's use this one, embedding 2. All right. You don't need to provide this. This is optional because if this model has access to your API key, which you have configured in your AI client, it would automatically pick up that. If not, you'll have to provide your embeddings API key. Um, Chunk overlap, I think that's fine. I'd like to fetch the top 7 results, or if it's more, just fetch the top 5. Fast is the only data store that we are using for our vector search. So you see this option here, hybrid search enabled. It's not implemented as of now, but there's a feature that I came across while studying about FAS, which is that it also supports similarity search. I mean, that's the primary search model that FAS provides. But alongside with that, it'll also provide support of similarity search. So, semantic search. Sorry, similarity search is the first, default behavior of your FAS vector database. But then it also comes out of the box with your semantic search operations. I'd like to keep it unchecked because it's not been implemented yet, but I'll be doing that probably tonight. I'd like to keep it blank for now. Settings is configured. I'll create a RAG data source real quick. The title would be, so I have a storybook downloaded, so I'd like to keep it story. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Um, the source type could be a PDF, it could be a file, it could be a URL or a doc type. So this is the important part. Okay, you can select any of your doc types and you can use that as a source of your indexing. But for now, let's look at PDF. I like to name this index as uh, what morals, whatever. Okay, now you see on top of here we have an option to index it now, the index the data source now, or ask a question. When you ask a question, it probably wouldn't work because you haven't indexed anything yet. uh, I'd like to ask, hey, what is this about? No index built yet, obviously. If you click on index now, there's nothing to index, right? So you'd probably get your rag index job has failed because no, oh, it's completed, but there are no documents to process, obviously. So what I would do is I would go to, let's look at the documentation. I'd like to add a new rag document. So rag document list. I'll select the data source as story, status as pending, obviously. Version is one. I'll just attach a file here, which should be this book by Sudha Murthy. That's what I came across, on the internet. Don't judge. Um, Next, what I would do is, as soon as this file gets uploaded and I click on save, I think there is an indexing that happens automatically. So you see that the status has updated to indexing, and then there's a backend process that has been running here. So, what's the document name? Let me see. So this is an index job. Okay. Index job, and this is running. It'll take a while to index everything for you. Um, let's wait for it. So I'd like to tell you, meanwhile this happens, I'd like to tell you more about this implementation. How RAG works inside Frappe. So what I have done is, whenever you upload a new file for your data source, what ends up happening with that file is, the old chunks which are not being used are automatically discarded whenever there's no person asking about that information. Because why would you like to pollute your index with unused information? So there's a cron in the background that runs every month, which would clean up all of those unused and stale data from your indexes, and then possibly it would also track all of those indexes back to its origin npy file, which I would also show you here. Let's see if it's done or not. Okay. The point being that this RAG process runs in a form that it's an incremental pipeline. So whenever there's a new document that comes in which contradicts the similarities from your previous index, it would rewrite all of those chunks with the updated data, and then it would rule out the possibility of having conflicts uh, when the user asks a question about some certain topic which might have contradictory uh, opinions in two different documents. How long is it going to take? How long is the PDF? I just want to know at this point in time. So downloads. Anyways, this is 136 pages. I think it should be done in 2 or 3 minutes. Come on. This is the job that takes care of it. You see, run index job, takes a job name, and then it runs the function. I'll show you what this function does. So that's the function, right? Uh, you can walk through everything here. It's pretty straightforward. There's nothing new, so I'd like to just collapse all of these functions so you have a better idea of what each and every function does. There are just five functions that takes care of everything from your indexing to outruling the old indexes, or re-indexing a certain file and maintaining versions. There's a single function to query your data, as you see here. Really simple, straightforward implementation. Everything that works inside your rag is put in a certain uh, single folder, so that there's no confusion to, is it done? Oh yes, that's finished. We can go back to your job, and it has given us a log that the rag has completed its chunking and the index is now available. So next, what you would do is, ideally you would have to go to rag data source to ask your questions, because that's going to be the origin of your knowledge base. And just like I have story here, you can have different knowledge bases. Say you have a knowledge base for your HR policies. There is a policy for, say, Porsche, or for fraud or something like that. And you keep updating your policy from time to time, and whenever you have an updated version, you create a separate data source for that, and then that would manage everything automatically. You just have to provide it a unique name in that sense. So you see this index name, you'll also find it here in your sites. So if I try to show you my site's private data, um, files rag, you see this is the uh, these are the three files that it has created automatically. So there's an index file, there's a meta file which contains all of these chunks, and then there's an npoi file which keep tracks of the valid chunks. um, all right, let's try asking a question. We don't want to index it now, we just did that. Let me just open it up and ask some random question from one of the last stories. uh, um, how do I start? Let's ask what this is about. Oh, what's the island of statues? And again, there would be an RQ job that would take care of this. The island of statues referred to an island where King Rajdeep. I think if I search for this, I'll probably find it, right? Yep. So it's not hallucinating or giving wrong answers in any sense, because the indexes has been quite beautifully divided and arranged, because we have configured all of that on our rag settings page. We know that the chunk size needs to be 1,000 characters, and the chunk overlap has to be 200, so that there's no mismatch of context whenever there's a follow up on that chunk. um yep, that's pretty much about rag. You can have different rag data sources for uh, different use cases. You can have one for your finance department, you can have one for your HR department, you can have one for your employees or senior managers or stuff like that. You can experiment with it, you can play around with it. You can also try out other source types here. um, I'd also like to show you this OCR process once, but I don't have that configured, I think, and it will also require me to enable billing. But I'd like to show you how do you configure that document AI settings. I think it's already done for you, right? Um, okay, let me just see what happens, because I haven't provided any access yet. I'd like to uh, just update my resume there and see what happens. Start processing. It'll probably throw an error, because obviously it would require your billing to be enabled, right? So you can see that this has failed. You get a log here that malformed service account, obviously because this service account is not valid. uh, it's a blank service account. I'll come up with a follow-up video on OCR processes specifically, if that's required, but that essentially works in the same manner. So you go over to your Google Cloud Console, you'll search for document AI, and you'll get a gist of how these processors are working. You can watch this video maybe, but I've created just this one processor of mine, and uh, I'll put this ID there. I'll label and test it depending on the number of documents that I want to process. Based on this, I'll select the fields that I want to pick up from that document. The majority of use cases that I have come across in the Frappe's ecosystem is around extracting purchase invoice data and then automatically creating a purchase invoice out of it. Uh, there are predefined preprocessors for that if you want to use. So you can go back to custom processors, and you'll find, I think, three or four options for custom extractor, classifier, splitter, and summarizer. I think custom extractor is something that you're looking at in that case. You also have a versatile gallery of, say, bank statement parsers or investments and retirement plan parsers, or it's a very versatile place to get your OCR things done. We also have something known as AWS Extract. I was also looking to implement this, so you can see that we've already visited this a number of times. But yeah, we'll be coming out with this implementation real time, real soon. So that's pretty much about this video. I think post everything goes well, we're done with the implementation. What we'll do next is we'll keep on adding on top of the current implementation, and I'll also try to bring as many features that relates to your AI related workflows in a single application, so that you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time when you're developing a new workflow for a new client. You just need to install this app. uh, I'd like to take questions. You can raise issues if you find any while working around with this repository. It's a pretty straightforward, implementation. You just have to follow the README, or you can also walk through the code. It's a pretty straightforward code in that sense. You won't have to worry about. I think there's something wrong with my prettier or black formatter. It's giving some vague issues like data source dot index is not defined or something like that. I'll fix it later. But yep, that's all about this video. I'd like to know about your feedback, and I would like to improvise on top of what we have built so far. Um, Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
One more thing that I forgot to mention is that from the README file you'll find code snippets which you can bring in at any point of time in any part of the module inside your code. So say you wanna have uh, some temporary file here inside your API which would run this code. The intention here is that you wanna directly connect with your agent, whatever agent that you configured here on your uh, UI or on your desk UI. So I'll go to AI clients. I have this agent configured. Okay, Gemini 2.5 Flash. I'll just copy this name and I'll put it here. It's that straightforward. You don't need to write any additional functions. You just have to import the ask functions which is written in the API slash chat file, and then you just have to put your query here. So you'll say hello, and it also accepts other parameters as you can see here. It accepts system prompt, temperature, max tokens, top p, all of those parameters which the API inherently supports. So this is there. Now what I would do is I would just go ahead and say bench execute. This is Frappe AI dot API dot temp dot run, and that should be sufficient to. This is not inside a function, so def run. This should do the job, and then I like to print the answer. All right. Okay. Yep. So that's how easy it is, and the same thing you can do with uh, the other implementation which relates to your RAG. So what you can do is you can pick up this code from here. You can just replace the import here. What I would do is I just put this one here, and yeah, I should replace this with something that related to this storybook. So this time let's ask something about Rupa. Okay, so I'll put it here. How did Rupa escape? And the RAG pipeline's name is, what was the data source for that? This takes it up the data source, yeah. So sorry, and I'll run that again. Let's see what it does. I'll also go to RAG query log list. This is the query that we have created. Rupa escaped by borrowing Bolu's clothes, disguising herself as a man, and then running off. Whatever. Uh, but that answers our question. It's really accurate at giving answers when you have the indexes correctly prepared, and the latency is not that good because we are obviously querying the database first, and then we are sending that as context to our LLM, and then that is where the latency adds up. So that's pretty much about the two functional components that we can use anywhere across our system. We can use RAG pipelines anywhere importing from this module, or you can use this agent, your clients, or anything of that sort. Whatever clients you have configured, you can just pull them in from this module, and then you can ask questions just like you would call a function. OCR, I think I would also like to have some similar functionality for an OCR extraction process, but that's kind of a complicated one to implement, so I'll have to look at that. So, yep, that's all about the update. Thank you. Bye bye.